And we are live coming at you with session 55 of our Drown Gods campaign. And a little different than it's been for a bit. We have returned to our normally scheduled programming, and I'm going to be taking up the reins of the Despicable Despot, the GM of this game. And I prepared a little speech just to, set expectations. And I wanted you to know that perhaps your former GM made your yoke heavy, and you ask, will you make it light on us? But I say to you, my little finger shall be thicker than his waist. And now, whereas your former GM put a heavy yoke on you, I will add to your yoke. Your former GM chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scourges.
Hey,
all right. Now that
don't complain when we just up here in the north decide to make our own kingdom and all that fun stuff.
Exactly. Well, now that I'm
high expectations.
Now that I'm done going all Old Testament on you guys,
I get it. It's hilarious.
I thought it was pretty good. Anyway. So we are picking up, and in case anyone missed our session 0 last time, we are now starting up the next generation, and you could probably figure out what's going on without listening to the last one where we planned it all out, but if you're lost and you didn't watch last episode, I say to our imaginary audience of 0 people, well, this is your problem and not mine. But yeah, so we are picking up with a new generation of heroes. So we are going to start with Junior and Mono Anui. So, Ip, you're gone. Toast, history. See ya.
I hardly knew ye.
So yeah. Mono Anui and Akalupu Jr. You guys are we'll start with Mono Anui. So you were awakening, your consciousness slowly returning, thankful for the end of the fitful dream that you'd been struggling with all night. And you can hear the sound of birds outside of your window, and you begin to awaken feeling somewhat better and comforted, certainly better than the dream you'd been having, where you had been locked up in a dark cell in some sort of dank basement of unknown origin, left to rot with only the occasional sounds of moaning coming from other cell blocks to keep you company. And you start to stretch out and take stock of the room around you. I imagine your room is up at the top floor of the tower, right?
Of course. Of course it is.
So would you like to describe what your room looks like these days?
I would love to describe what my room looks like these days.
It's full of diamonds, nothing but diamonds. I'm gonna sell them and be so rich, man.
The window, diamonds. My bed, diamonds. My pillow, diamonds. No. So it's a little rustic. It's mostly a wood construction, but with some stone pillars here and there. Not much here at the top though, because it's not very structurally sound. Over to one area, there is a chimney that is coming up from a little fireplace, up through the top of the tower. It's a circular tower, I should say. And over there are 3 windows. Of course, the side with the chimney and the fireplace has no windows because there's a fireplace there. There's my bed, which is if the chimney and the fireplace is at the back, right, so at the right side, it is on the side. Okay, so if the chimney is on the east side of the tower, my bed is on the south side, with the headboard near the window. over towards the middle of the room, there was a table upon which there are some odd-looking ingredients and maybe a few, all the books that I have, which I think at this point is still only one.
Yeah, you have a whole one book, but I imagine on a lectern next to the table is a second book that is yours, written in your language that you've completed by this point.
Exactly. With various bits of paper-like material, but a lot of clay tablets.
Yeah, no, you figured out like ancient quote unquote paper wasn't made of wood pulp; it was made of like thinly scraped leather.
Yeah.
So by now you would have access to that.
Okay. I had Manawanui go out and hunt various animals to get me hides.
Exactly.
So yeah, I do have these hide books. Ancient, I think that's what parchment is. Is that not what parchment is?
No, I think that's correct.
Okay.
Not the modern use of parchment, but originally.
The medieval sense.
Yep. Parchment is a writing material made from specially prepared untanned skins of animals.
There we go. Anywho, so there's pieces of parchment on there. There's my book. Then there's the book that I stole. Yeah, I think I stole it.
Yeah, you stole it. Now Topple knew. Yeah, you were allowed to steal.
It's the closest thing to a gift that he is going to give.
And at this point, you've probably translated some sections of it as well.
I do. That's what some of these parchments that are sitting there. They're working translations, and over by the fireplace there is a cauldron. It's simmering on a bed of coals.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, how many skulls are decorating your room?
There are quite a few skulls from quite a few different creatures.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some human skulls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Human-looking skulls. There's also, just some very, very odd-looking skulls, and there's some strange symbols painted on some of the walls. What else?
That's pretty good.
Let me see. Oh, over by one window, so the window that is on the north side, there is not a telescope because that's like a little too advanced for our people.
Yeah.
But there is like a what's the word I'm looking for? There's like it's like oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? What are those triangle things?
A sextant?
Yeah, there's like a large looking, much cruder version of a sextant with by one of the windows.
Cool. All right, so you're stretching out, looking around your room. You're about to hop out of bed, feeling somewhat energized when suddenly reality crashes down and you remember what's been going on for the last few weeks as chanting in little high-pitched voices starts to make its way through your windows. And you hear the bray of some large animal.
We will not give you any figgy pudding. Please leave.
And with an exasperated sigh, you go over to your window and look out, and there, arrayed, completely encircling your tower, behind makeshift fortifications, are a few dozen cocoa biters. They're engaged in various activities. Several of them are, dancing around a fire while chanting. That was the sound you heard. And they seem to have a large stegosaurus, which, if you don't remember what that one is, it's the one with the spikes on its tail and the big back plates.
That is right.
There's a large adult stegosaurus there as well who is lazily munching on grass, and there's a cocoa biter very proudly standing on top of it, trying to look like it's in charge. The stegosaurus seems, for its part, seems to barely even register its existence, though. And as you peek out the window, one of the cocoa biters closer to the tower notices you and shouts up at you, "You give tower now!" in very rough English.
I give tower?
You give house now! We want stone house! They've been demanding this for almost a week now. They set up around the tower in the middle of the night, and you awoke to the starts of these makeshift fortifications. They're not less makeshift now, but they're much more numerous, shall we say. And they've been waiting out there with a large number of poison darts pointed at you at all times, making it pretty difficult to leave the tower.
And you said this has been going on for a few weeks, right?
This has been going on for about a week.
Okay.
So 5 to 7 days. You are well supplied. You spend a lot of time out here between visits to resupply at the village. So you're not in any sort of dire straits. I think you have create food and water anyway.
I do.
So you are not worried about like running out of provisions anytime soon. But it has been a bit of an annoyance, especially since it's, you can't send Akalupu out to fetch you things. As far as actually leaving the tower, you probably don't care that much. I doubt you leave the tower when you don't have to anyway.
You're not wrong. But my alchemical supplies are getting quite low.
Exactly. And not even that low. They're starting to get a little low.
Yeah. It's a little annoying.
Exactly.
So I don't feel any sort of there's not enough of them that would be a danger to. I don't feel too terribly threatened.
No, not very threatened unless you leave the tower. Between the tower providing obvious natural fortifications, their inability to get the Stegosaurus to knock your tower down like they had threatened to do when they originally got here. And just like the wards and defenses you have in place, they quickly learned the futility of attacking, so they've just set up a siege at this point. But their fortifications are also sufficient that it's a bit difficult for you to sally forth and just wipe them away either. Give house now, or we do thing.
Yeah, I'll be waiting up here for that. You guys can't stay there forever.
We stay longer than you. Cocoa biters, very, very stubborn.
Well, considering I'm the only one who actually can't leave from the situation, I'm pretty sure. Why am I even engaging? Akalupu! She hollers down the. There's a little Jonah. That's right. There's a staircase that I didn't describe in my room that comes up the right side.
No, you just bricked yourself into the top floor.
I leave when I want to leave. That comes up around the northeastern side. That kind of comes up from the it's like a one giant staircase that goes up the entire tower, but it has landings.
Yeah,
and it just circles.
Yeah, it's a spiral staircase.
Yeah. So she's gonna holler down that for.
All right. So, Akalupu, do you have the same proclivity as your father for sleeping in, Junior?
Yes, very much so.
All right. So you were having a nice dream. You were out, exploring the wilderness, going through one of the big kind of redwood forests on the island, and you'd pushed your way through an especially thick bit of fern undergrowth to spy a very large and tasty looking dinosaur who you snuck up on, and you had just started smacking him in the back of the head with your makwatl. Is that what it was?
Yes, that sounds right.
So it's I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but it's the Aztec club with like the obsidian chunks kind of set through the side to give it a blade, quote unquote blade. But anyway, you just started to start smacking in the back of the head with your makwatl, when suddenly the dinosaur turns around and shouts in your face, "Junior!" And that's when you wake up.
What? Junior, come up here.
Could you describe your room? I imagine it's barely a closet.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty Harry Potter here. It's like under the stairs.
I love that too much. That has to be true.
I like barely fit in at this point. Like, Mama Wanui put me in there when I was much smaller, and I've now like kind of grown into it. Yeah, it just kind of has, some of my favorite things, some nice, my weapons and, some like animal bones and just kind of my random things that make me happy.
Exactly. Just waiting on your letter from Hogwarts.
Exactly. I'm like, one day I'll be a special boy.
Meanwhile, Maramui keeps killing all the owls.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think what is why he's never seen these owl creatures everybody keeps talking about.
Yeah, Manawanui just has what's his face? You're familiar. Not Jeffrey.
Reginald.
Reginald, yeah, he has Reginald killing any owls that come near.
But yeah, so I shimmy my way out, muttering under my breath, Junior do this and Junior do that. All I am, just nothing but an overglorified slave. And lumber my way up the stairs, very, very loudly stomping.
Junior, come.
All right. At this point, the Cocoa Biter has is blowing a raspberry at you, and then he turned around and lifted his skirt.
Can I try and cast Ray of Frost at him?
You can try. They've set up far enough away to be fairly safe, though, but you can definitely give it a shot.
All right. What would I have to roll to see?
It's an attack roll.
Okay, we're gonna roll. 18.
All right. What's the range on Ray of Frost?
120 feet.
All right. So does that hit? That might actually. I don't have it pulled up. Let me real quick. Interesting. Oh, there he is. That's who I wanted. No, that misses. So the Ray of Frost shoots just shy of his cheeks, and he goes, "Woo, that code! You not hit me though!" And he resumes waving his booty in your direction.
Coming!
I am coming.
My God, take this boy. I'm grateful. I gave him a house, a place to live. I feed him. You think he would show a little bit of hustle when I asked him to do some of the simplest things?
Lupo finally makes his way up, pops his head up. Hey, man, what do you want?
Junior, these cocoa butters are really starting to get annoying. So, here's what I want you to do, okay? Come tonight. That's a quick question. So I've been kind of observing their habits. Do they like set watches at night?
Oh yeah. And this is like an entire tribe of cocoa biters. So
this is not like 20 or
no,
like 15.
this is several dozen. That's the reason, like, the way they've set up their defenses, probably not very on purpose, but they've set it up in a haphazard circle around the tower to where any angle you exit from is going to be like immediately accessible to a lot of poison dart blowgunners, which are the only ones of the cocoa biters you're really worried about, but they're pretty worrying.
Is it possible that, say, a young boy could smuggle himself out under the cover of night?
Possible, yes. Likely, maybe. I don't know that a certain young boy of an Akalupu-ish disposition has a very good stealth check, though.
No.
I need to check something.
Honestly, your stealth is probably better than Akalupu's.
You're not wrong, actually. In that case. Alright. So tonight, going to be a moonless night. I'm going to sneak myself out of here. I'm going to go see your, not your uncle, I guess your cousin. We'll go see your, who all went with the ill-fated void? Was it only Yasuka?
Yeah, Yasuka's the only one of the unicorns that left. So Sunbeam, Blackrock, and Starfire are still on the island.
I'm gonna go see your auntie, Blackrock, and Starfire, and then we're gonna come back up here. I'm going to get rid of our little infestation, but I need you to make sure that they do not get in the tower.
Okay. Do you need a distraction, maybe? Maybe some fire vials I can throw at them?
You know,
Maybe some acid?
I would usually not want you using the fire vials near the tower, but I think this might call for it. Now, when I say throw them very far away from the tower, I mean throw them very far away. Can you do that?
Who do you think you're talking to? Of course I can throw something very far.
Yeah, but, you know, sometimes when you get a little overexcited, tend to be a little unfocused, and you tend to, like, you know, just some mistakes, okay? Like that time you were throwing that javelin, and instead of throwing it when you threw it forward, you threw it at me.
Hey, but it didn't hit you that hard. It was just a flesh wound.
Wounds aside, spearings in the foot aside, do you think you could hold out here till I get back? I'll only use the fire vials when I leave. Just that one time.
Okay.
Okay? And don't No other potions.
3 fire vials?
2. You know how hard these are?
1.5.
How could you use half a fire vial? Tell me this, Junior. Junior. As much as you're different from your father, I swear to God. Sometimes I think he's still here. That's not a good thing in this case.
Of course. Hey. Alright.
Right.
I like this plan.
Just the fire vials, just when I leave.
Oh.
No other potions.
No acid?
No acid.
Dying.
We need something that's flashy. Can you do that?
Hey,
All right.
it's killing things. Of course I can do it.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure. I'm sorry.
So the plan now is to settle in and wait for evening.
Yeah, settle in, wait for the sun to set. Have the moonless night. Akalupu is allegedly going to stay at the top of the tower and throwing the vials west, out the west window, at the area there. On Manoanui signal, of course.
Of course.
No.
All right, cool. Well, then y'all settle in to whatever your daily routine has become now that you're locked into the tower, and we are going to switch over now. Sure, this is a completely unfamiliar map to everyone.
Whoa! What is this place? That's so weird.
Spoilers, it's a map we never went to, so I'm reusing it because I'm lazy.
It's almost like it was not raining when we were gonna go in this one.
All right, Jason, you can see, correct?
Yes.
All right, let me do one more thing. There we go. It's huge! Oop. All right. So, Jason, you and your younger brother, Burn Bright, have been out deep into the northern wilderness, up near the huge mountain that dominates the landscape. And you were out on a bit of an exploration journey / you're looking for materials from these like strange artifacts you find on the island, similar to the tower. Burn Bright is Sunbeam's son. And has very much taken after his mother. He's a bit of a tinkerer, and enjoys messing around with these old bits of technology, and would very happily have go out into the wilderness alone. But your parents have insisted that it's not safe, and so you've somewhat been dragged along on many of these little outings before. And as you were exploring the mountains, you found a very promising looking old cave. I guess all caves are probably pretty old, but you know what I mean. And you started spelunking inside. And you've made your ways yourself a ways down inside of the cave. Not too far. It's not like, you'd have to spend multiple days journey getting back out or anything. A few hours. And it is now starting to widen into a bit of a larger antechamber. And so Burn Bright is just, chatting idly and is like, bro, can you imagine that, like, back in the day, like, our parents couldn't go in caves unless it was, like, raining? That's, like, crazy.
Brother, we do not question the will of the gods.
Yeah, but
We do
like,
not call them crazy.
yeah, but wasn't it like clearly not the will of the gods? Because like it's totally chill now or whatever.
The gods' will is transient. They are very temperamental.
Yeah, so like it's like totally cool now. So like, can you imagine if we'd lived like back when it wasn't cool and we like couldn't go underground?
That would be very difficult logistically.
Right?
I
Or
can
like,
imagine.
or like, how would like frickin' like family dinner happen? Like, what would we do? Like, have to kick our moms out of the house to like eat? That would be like rude. Like, they cooked that stuff.
Perhaps this is the reason the gods have changed their spirits about the issue.
Yeah, like totally. Like, you know, like catch up with the times or whatever. Or I guess like, I don't know, maybe the times are catching up with us. Like, I don't know how time works. Do you know how like time works?
That's a very interesting thought. I do not.
All right, so the antechamber is opening up in front of you guys, and you can see some constructs there. It's a little unusual, but it seems that part of this cave was worked at one point. There are like little bits of ruins that you can see of stone that has clearly been shaped intentionally. And then there are also these what are clearly newer construction wood and rope bridges.
Stand back. Allow me to test the structure of this bridge.
Yeah, that thing like looks pretty rotted.
And so first I'm going to cast Detect Magic on the bridge.
All right, you do not detect any magic coming from the bridge.
And then I would like to, yeah, I guess step onto the bridge.
Cool. If you want, actually send this little guy out.
Who's this little guy?
Bro, like you don't have to go on that. We could like send Gur out there. He's about as heavy as either of us. Yes, Gur likes to be in mortal danger. See, like he's into it.
Do I know who Gur is?
So Gur is a little automaton that was created by Sunbeam out of parts from ancient tech. So this has been a staple of your life. This is something your characters would have met if we'd done an epilogue. You would have come back and Sunbeam would have like been working on a partially finished Gur.
Perfect.
So yeah, so this is a little automaton that has been, you know, a part of your family growing up, and is a bit of a wacko, in case you hadn't noticed.
Very smart, little brother. Let's let the automaton do our bidding.
Yes, Gur loves to do bidding. What are we bidding?
Walk across the bridge.
Also, I wish I could do a proper Gur voice. One of the best cartoon voices ever. Walking! And so Gur starts walking across the bridge, gets about halfway over, and then starts kind of bouncing. It's like, oh, this is fun! This is like a trampoline! And you can see the ropes starting to like strain a little bit, and the wood is creaking, but it does in fact hold.
Very good. Continue. We'll go one at a time.
Continuing! And Gur jumps off the side and lands face first into the ground. Ow! I've hurt my face!
Huh? What you looking for?
Yeah, we'll need to look into some of these defects. That definitely was not how that was supposed to work.
Yeah, bro. Sometimes you have to be like really specific with him.
Okay, I'll go first.
All right, the bridge holds up just fine.
Woohoo!
So you cross over. So over here, this is actually rubble, so you can't go through there. We're here.
Oh, and I am going to continually cast my guidance cantrip on Burn Bright just to make sure he's got a little extra help.
Cool. All right, and growing up, you actually were not that interested in combat. You were mostly interested in pursuing your, your scholarly, pursuits. But as time went on and it became more clear that you were getting, dragged out and needed to have some ability to defend yourself, you were trained in combat actually by Sunbeam, the same as Burn Bright. So you both have a very similar combat style. The biggest, both of you have these massive repeating crossbows and tower shields. The biggest difference is really just that Burn Bright also wears full plate armor, while you prefer to have a bit more mobility, so you eschewed the armor. It interfered too much with your ability to, cast spells and prayers.
Yeah, I was thinking it actually makes me encumbered to have a tower shield. I was thinking of downgrading to just like a regular shield.
That works. It's going to be a little bit harder to get your repeating crossbow set up, but that would be the only downside.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to be encumbered all day every day. I didn't spec enough into strength.
That is the downside. So yeah, feel free to definitely fine if you want to downgrade your shield a little bit. That makes perfect sense as well. And if you want to rejigger your stats a little bit, or just wait until you level up, either is fine.
Cool. I just put it elsewhere for right now. I've got the tower shield in my room ready to go once I upgrade. Once I'm ready to take on the mantle of Divine Hero with a tower shield.
Exactly. All right, so you guys have crossed the bridge and are now on the other side. Whoa, this place is totally caved in, but you can see that there were stairs or something over there. These are some old ruins too. Look at the weathering. Some of these carved pieces have stalagmites growing out of them. That takes ages.
But someone was obviously here recently to build these bridges.
Yeah.
Hopefully they left something interesting for us.
It's fine either way, but so Ip's accent did not, evidently his parents' accent did not, or his mother's accent did not rub off on him. Is that correct?
Nope.
All right.
That is correct.
Cool.
He's a daddy's boy.
Exactly. All right, so you guys are over-examining the staircase and perhaps seeing if maybe you could clear the rubble away. When you hear Gur somewhere, he's moved further away, so it's a bit of a quieter echo is all you're hearing, but he's like, "Hey, I found a friend!"
Oh man, I forgot about him already. What's he gotten up to? Who's your friend, Gur?
You guys come over toward where he is, and you can see that now there is... is that going to work? Nope. Here we go. There's some sort of metal figure sitting over here in the corner, occasionally giving off sparks and twitching. One of his arms ends in just a stump, and the other one has a large circular blade.
Whoa.
He's like me when I don't wear my flesh suit.
That's not disturbing at all.
So that's what Gur has taken to calling it. But he wear like he's had basically like a big sleeper basically put on him, so that he looks slightly less disturbing to people. Because he is a robot and cobbled together out of pieces of old tech. So he looks pretty creepy. So you guys decided he was cuter with a little like suit on. And so that's what he calls his flesh suit. But it is not made of actual flesh. Thankfully. Not that Gur would mind. Gur would absolutely wear a flesh suit.
Not like, he goes out at night killing random people and just putting on their skin.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Those people went missing because they, stayed out too late.
I'm gonna say hi. He starts walking over toward it.
Okay, you do that, Gur. We'll come join you.
All right, so he gets about 10 feet away from it when suddenly you see its eyes light up red, and it looks forward and says, "Defective unit found. Must repair. Must repair." And it starts to like stand up shakily, and you can see that one hand that ended in a stump suddenly bursts out into a small jet of flames.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I think he wants to give me a hug. Come here, friend. And
Gur, back away from the robot.
but he's my friend. All right, and now we roll for initiative. So,
Excellent.
anyone? Jason? Are you using anything other than perception?
No. No,
Sweet.
sir, I am not.
All right, neither is Burn Bright.
I am unfortunately no longer stealthy.
Sad day.
All right.
The bright light on my horn isn't helping it.
No, it's not. You're pretty easy to spot. The little headlamp, the little like lights coming out of Gur's eyes aren't helping. Well, I guess he's already been spotted, so it doesn't matter. But yeah. All right. Pip, you are up.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do is... Sorry, I'm reading through my spells again, just to make sure I understand what they all do. What is the difference between these two? Oh, +1 bonus. Okay, interesting. Yeah, we're gonna cast Sanctuary on Gur. And Sanctuary says you ward a creature with protective energy that deters enemy attacks. Creatures attempting to attack the target must attempt a will save each time.
All right, cool. I will try to remember that. Remind me if I do not. All right, so that should leave you with one action.
Yes. Oh wait, I take that back, because I just read the text after that, which says if he does an aggressive action, it ends the spell. So I don't want to... Because he's gonna probably not attack the automaton.
No, he will. I mean, if you tell him to. Because Burn Bright and his mother Sunbeam were the inventor class, so a lot of their damage actually comes from their creations. In this case, an automaton. So that's kind of like that's how Burn Bright fights. Is he sits back with the tower shield, stays safe, shoots from range, and Gur is the one that mixes it up in melee.
I see. I thought you said Gur was sunbeams.
Well,
So
he was created by Sunbeam, but Burnbright has more or less inherited Gur at this point. So
I see.
Burnbright has like done extensive modifications. Like it's now basically Burnbright's robot.
I'm following. I want to see how this command spell works. I feel like that I could use that to my advantage, but it's not. So I'm taking back the sanctuary because that's not going to work at all. But now I can't see what command does.
Let's see. Command. You shout a command that's hard to ignore. You can command the target to approach you, run away as if it had the fleeing condition, release what it's holding, drop prone, or stand in place. It can't delay or take any actions until it has obeyed your command. The effect depends on the target's will save.
I see. Okay, I'd like to... Can I make my first action a crafting check to see if I know how to repair this robot?
Sure. Now keep in mind, this sort of old tech is not your area of expertise. That would actually be Burnbright or Sunbeam.
I'm still going to give it a shot.
Yeah, go for it, for sure.
14 plus 10 is 24.
All right. It looks pretty damaged, like very damaged. You're really not sure how you would repair it. You also know that part of your goal on this mission was to like scrap old tech, so it's probably more useful destroyed and scrapped than trying to keep it intact.
Interesting. Man, all my spells stopped loading. I don't know how to play this, but
Try refreshing, maybe?
yeah, full refresh.
Now, most of your spells are fairly defensively oriented as a cleric. Most of your damage is going to come from using your weapons.
Well, I have a couple damage spells I wanted to see.
Yeah. Because, like, you could use Searing Light.
That's my big one. That's my big guns.
Yep. Now
Yeah,
it is fire damage. It is fire damage, and you don't know if it has a resistance to that.
Well, even if it does, that's what I'm...
Cool. Sounds good. So is that just an attack roll?
It is... Make a ranged spell attack.
All right, sweet. So, yep, just an attack roll.
Cool. Oof. So what's my modifier on attack roll? How does that work?
Are you rolling it in Hero Lab, or are you rolling IRL?
I'm rolling IRL. So
right.
It looks like in Hero Lab it's a plus 11.
Yeah.
So that sucked. I got a 15.
All right. That is not gonna hit.
I was gonna say, can I hero point that, or I forget, did we decide hero point doesn't work for attack rolls, just saving rolls?
What did we decide on?
Skill
that?
checks.
I think I'd said you couldn't do damage rolls. I think attack rolls are fine, so I don't think I'm backtracking on that. So I'm fine with you using your hero point for that.
Yeah, I want it.
Speaking of which, I never said it, but everyone reset your hero point pools to 1.
Well, they're fresh characters, right? Shouldn't they start out at 1?
Yep.
Oh, except Manawa Nui. That's not...
Yeah.
She's not fresh.
And technically, Akalupu Jr., we also just used Akalupu's character and made a copy and then edited it.
Oh, man. So I'm the only noob. Okay, much better. 28.
All right, that'll hit. Not a crit, sadly.
That is sad. But I do get to roll 5d6 damage.
Yeah. And it's not undead, obviously, so sadly you don't get that bonus damage.
17.
Nice. Pretty good. All right, so you blast out a blinding light of just like focused good energy. Just so much good vibes
Good
that it
vibes.
hurts. Yeah, that's gonna do some damage. Hello? There we go. And you take a chunk out of this already damaged automaton.
Take that. The light of my ancestors upon you.
Ah, you are hurting my friend. I am in need of repairs. Error cannot repair self.
Gur, I have assessed that this robot is beyond repair. Your task is to make it inoperable.
All right, Gur is not sure how he feels about this, but I will do it. All right, so is that it for your turn?
Yes, that's all my actions.
All right, Poi Pip is acted. Akalupa Jr. is not there. All right, so next up is Burn Bright. So Burn Bright is going to use one action. Oh, and you're in your human forms, by the way. There's been like smaller areas that you couldn't really get through as horses.
That makes sense.
So Burn Bright's going to take one action to go up there, and then setting up the tower shield as a basically a tripod for his repeating crossbow. He's going to take aim and see if he can't get a shot out on this guy. So let's go ahead and fire away. Oh, wow. Is that a... Nope, not quite a nat 20, but 32. That is almost a crit. 1 point away. And a 26 will also hit. All right, so for a total of 22 damage. So Burn Bright steps up and takes a couple of shots with his repeating crossbow, and these like large, hefty crossbow bolts come slamming into the side of the head of the creature. And it is now just sparking and jittering everywhere. And it's at this point, like you can see the lights are starting to fade. It's still moving. It's coming toward Gur still. And it says, must repair your face. No, Gur's face is perfect. Go away. I thought you were my friend. And Gur is going to attack. He's gonna move up. Boop. And then let's see. I thought he had more. I mean, I guess this fits. So his weapon of choice is just a headbutt. So he's going to headbutt this thing. 24. That will hit. For 10 damage. So he comes up and he headbutts this thing right in like the hole that you already made in its outer armor, with your blasting ray, whatever it was, your sun thing.
Searing light, yes. The area around that hole is like still red and hot, and Gur just headbutts this thing as hard as he can and like knocks the thing in half, and it is now very dead. Very well done. I believe we have found our haul for the trip.
Gur looks up at you and is just like, Did Gur kill his brother?
No, Gur. He was never alive.
Is Gur alive?
No, Gur. You're not alive.
Oh, jeez.
Gur just like looks down for a second. Gur is not sure how to feel about that.
Life is not all there is to life.
Well, good, because my brother is dead, and he kicks the robot.
Can you be dead if you were never alive?
Yeah, Gur doesn't pay any attention to that comment. He's just, at this point, he's starting to like, he's found some of the oil lines and is like squeezing the oil out of this thing over himself. And it's like, it's slippery. I like my brother's blood.
Gur, put all that blood in a bottle, please.
Okay. Yeah, bro, that is like a great haul. I never expected to find something like sort of functional. And he slings his crossbow and great shield across his back and hops down.
Hup. I follow suit right behind.
All right, so let's get some crafting checks from you and Burn Bright.
And is there any markings on it?
So you look at it, and it is like, what do you mean by markings? Like anything recognizable or just symbols?
Yeah, like any symbols or text that would be decipherable.
Definitely nothing you can read. It does remind you, though, of I think you guys still had the key to Genie, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen that key before, and heard stories of how it was used to tame, an ancient god from the oceans. And it also does remind you somewhat of the tower. Certain parts of it have these kind of like indentations in these like long, interconnected, very straight lines. So it looks similar to those, but definitely nothing that you can read.
Gotcha. Okay, crafting check.
Yeah, so this is just going to be to see how much loot you can get from disassembling it.
What if he finds a loot in there,
That would be very surprising.
but not impossible?
Not impossible.
Could find a loot.
17.
All right, you and Burn Bright both rolled not great, but good enough. So you're able to definitely get some parts from this thing.
Burn Bright gets a +1 from my guidance.
All right, so a 17 also, because he got a 16. All right, so double 17. So you're able to get a decent amount of its components without doing too much damage to them. And you pack them all up, and Burn Bright is like, all right, bro, I guess we should like head back to camp now and like see what we can do with this stuff.
I agree. By the way, I'm very proud of the way you fought just now. You aimed true with your mind's eye.
So did you. You were like, poof, and then it was like blinded for a second, but then like it damaged him and not my corneas, so like that was good.
I'm very concerned about your corneas.
Yeah, me too, bro. Like if I couldn't see, like that would suck.
Gur, have you collected all the blood?
Yes, Gur has all the blood of my brother. And so he's got
All right,
like
please.
a leather sack thingy that he's poured it into, and he holds it up, still just like squooshing oil everywhere.
That's pretty gross, but I don't trust you with it, so please give that to me.
Here you go. Do you like blood too?
Not usually.
That's too bad. Gur loves blood. It's funny.
How is blood funny?
Cause it slooches everywhere and it makes colors. It's like paint, but for life. I call it life paint. I like to paint the walls with it.
I love your
Oh my
positive
God.
outlook, Gur. Let's make our way back to camp.
There are some villagers missing from that village, y'all. Mark my words.
No, you guys keep a pretty good eye on Gur. He's like you're aware enough that he's a bit of a psycho, but he generally like outside of maybe a few small animals, he hasn't actually done too much damage.
How it always starts.
All right, so you guys make your way back to camp, and you start messing around with the parts, and let's get some new crafting checks. See if we can't make some use of these pieces.
Much better. 26.
Nice. And a 27 from Burn Bright. So yeah, much better. So you guys start, taking them apart. This not being your area of expertise at all, like you've been exposed to it enough that like with Burn Bright's help, you kind of know what you're looking at. But you're not, otherwise you'd be pretty lost without spending quite a bit of time on this. But you spend probably about most of the rest of the day, so it's about evening time by the time you wrap up. But you found some hydraulic parts that Burn Bright is like, bruh, we could like totally make our crossbows like shoot hard as balls with these.
Oh.
And then like try this, and he takes one of the eyes pieces that you took out of the creature, and he holds it up to you. Like, look through this, like into the tent where it's all dark.
I'm looking through it.
So you look
What
through
do I
it,
see?
and everything is like color shifted toward red, but you're able to see in the tent as if it were just as bright as outside.
Whoa.
I think there's
It's like dark vision.
yeah, kind of like what Manoa Nui can do. Like, I think this creature could see in the dark. What if we set these up, like, on our sights, and we could, like, shoot into the darkness?
I wish I had your knack for design, my little brother. We should do that very thing.
Yeah, this is gonna be sick. All right, so go in to edit your crossbow.
Edit.
And you're going to set it up with go into the
Dark vision scope.
Yep, dark vision scope for the attachments, and then what's the top section called? I forget.
Top section?
So there's like 3 subcategories when you go to edit, right?
Fundamental runes, property runes, talismans, attachments.
All right, one sec. I'm pulling up the full character sheet.
Oh, there's also
all right, so go into
modifications.
fundamental runes,
Okay.
and you're gonna give it weapon potency +1 and striking.
Weapon and strength.
So weapon potency +1 is going to give you a +1 to hit and damage, and striking is going to double the hit dice on the damage roll.
Whoa.
So it should now be doing 2d10 piercing.
I also have something. Maybe I'm
On what?
I was gonna say I thought I had the ability to craft +1 something or other. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a spell.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean, so I don't know.
I think it was probably something that I was just reading when I was going through building my character, and I am misremembering whether I selected it or not.
Okay. All right, your
Oh, no,
crossbow.
here we go. Yeah, I have a magic item formula
Okay,
for weapon potency +1.
nice.
Does that mean I can do like a crafting activity while we're at home to further improve my weapon potency?
Not past that +1. So you're already getting the +1 basically for free from all these parts.
Oh, I see.
But it would
But if
allow
I
you to
found like
craft
a
it
bare
normally.
bones stick, I could craft the weapon potency +1 on.
Yeah, with like basically since we're not doing the gold, so normally with crafting the materials involved are obfuscated with a gold cost to simplify things. Since we're not using money currently, you will still need like some amount of materials that you explain, that makes in universe lore, like, oh, we took down that T-Rex and I took one of its teeth and I used that, right? Something like that.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic, I gave myself, because part of the feat that I had gave me 4 magic item formulas for the magic crafting feat.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ones that I picked were that weapon potency +1,
It's a good
nectar
one.
purification, healing potion, and gecko potion.
Nice.
And so I gave myself a few of each of those potions as if I were just like tinkering in my lab or whatever.
Sounds good. That is perfect. All right, so now with your weapons all sorted, you still have some pieces from the robot, but you did use probably like the best ones out of it. The rest of it's mostly kind of like scrap metal and that sort of thing. But I'm sure you could get some use out of it at some point. So Burn Bright is then like, bruh, I guess like we should probably head home soon. Should we stop by like Mono Anui and Junior's place though? Like we're not that far away.
Yeah, what? That's only a few minutes out of our way. Let's go say hi.
Yeah, I haven't seen them in town in like weeks at this point. I hope they're
Yeah,
not
we better
like
check and
dead.
make sure they're okay.
Yeah, normally we at least see Junior. Mono Anui's always like stuck up there in her tower doing like whatever creepy witch stuff she does. So like that's normal.
Mono Anui, I believe, is misunderstood. I know they're not very social, but I try to believe in the goodness of their heart.
Yeah, but that doesn't like negate the fact that she does like creepy witch stuff. Have you seen like the skull she wears on her head?
I understand what you mean, brother, but it is a fool's errand to cast judgment upon others.
I don't know. I don't really see it as judging, more as just like describing, but like, sure, whatever.
Let's go see how they fare.
All right, so you guys pack up your stuff and start heading out. All right, now back to Mono Anui and Junior in the tower. So what have you guys been up to with your day?
So, mostly, Mono Anui has been kind of setting up Junior so that however long she's gone, he's got food. Because without her powers of food creation, he doesn't have the means to eat. Or to create food, I should say.
Well, you've still got pretty good stocks of food. Like you are like, I imagine you're pretty much prepared to stay in your tower for months at a time if you ever feel like it. So, like I said, your stocks are really not running low.
But she's just making sure that all the right cabinets are locked up. More important stuff are.
Make sure Junior can't get to the acid potions.
Yes, definitely making sure Junior can't get to the acid potions. Occasionally, repeating the plan to Junior so that he understands. Only 2 fire potions. Only 2. And then,
Mono Nui says, standing in front of an open cabinet full of, a dozen.
Only these 2. No more. Just 2.
Nods, staring past Mono Nui, definitely into the fire potion. Aye. Just 2. Aye.
Just 2.
Aye.
And if you light the tower on fire, by God, I will leave you to burn.
I just too.
It's like everything I say, it just goes in one ear, out the other. Do not burn yourself down, Akalu Jr. Your father made me promise, watch after you and make sure that you grew up into a fine, you know, barbarian fellow. And I will be damned if you burn up in this tower with all of my strength.
All right. What about Junior? What have you been up to in this free time? You've got pretty much the whole day to wait.
Hold on. Junior's suffocated.
Uh-oh.
She's just having
Honestly, messing around with like his, because I mean that's mostly what he's been doing since he's been like stuck here. He's just like messing around with like his weapons and stuff, and trying to like add stuff. Like in the last week or so, he's like carved in a trunk that runs from like all the way down his weapon, goes down to like the end of his handle where he's carved out a spot for his bloodstone.
Nice.
And just generally working.
So you're gonna take this time to go ahead and finish that upgrade?
Yeah.
All right, let's get a crafting roll.
Alright, let's now that's the part Papa kind of wishes maybe that he had just did his crafting.
Well, you can always wait until one of your more handy friends is around to help out.
I mean, can I try?
You
And
could
then if it
ask
doesn't work, it just
Mono Nui.
Yeah, you
doesn't
can.
go in yet, and I can try again later.
Yeah, you can definitely
Mono
try.
Nui's expert in crafting.
Okay, well, Akalupa got a 4.
Okay.
So you're kind of just like you've cut a space for the bloodstone that you think is about the right size, and you're just kind of like poking it into the hole, trying to figure out how to make it stay there, and nothing is really coming to mind.
Can Mono Nui just come up behind him and say, "Oh, for heaven's sake," and like attempt to do it? All right. That's what she's gonna do. She's gonna come up behind him. Like, let me show you how to. You got the dimensions all completely wrong, and she got a plus 13. That's 26, 29.
All right. Are you willing to spend pretty much your entire day helping with this?
Yeah.
All right. So you have a.
As much as she pretends that he's just her little servant, she does feel some modicum of responsibility and wants him to preferably stay alive. And
She likes encouraging her down the path of using the bloodstone.
don't worry about it.
Yep. You spend some good adoptive mother-son bonding time, and spend the majority of the day working on Akalupu or Junior. I mean, it is Akalupu, but it's less confusing if we call him Junior. Junior's Aquatl. And you're able to do quite a bit of work on it using both your magic skills and just general crafting. So Anna, go ahead and make your Aquatl a +1 striking Aquatl with wounding from the stone.
Yeah, with like boom. Let's see.
So as you're wrapping it up, Akalupu and Manoanui, as Manoanui hefts this enormous club, nearly as tall as he is, far too large to be wielded by pretty much anyone else on the island. There's a much more menacing aura that comes off of it, and especially you, Manoanui, you feel that kind of familiar prickling sensation, similar to the Crown of Darkness, or when you had the bloodstone that Topple gave you. This kind of prickling thirst for blood. Only in this case, it's thirst for your blood.
I'm gonna feel both excited but also worried.
Yeah. And then Anna did describe it, but I don't know if you caught it. There are also channels now carved along the length of the club that channel any blood that gets on it down to the stone.
Oh, how wicked!
Indeed.
I think I've got it working. It is giving me like a error message on the wounding, just saying that it needs piercing or slashing damage types required, but like it is a slashing weapon, so I don't.
Yeah, I think that's fine. We can mess with it later if we need to. But as long as it's added that 1d6 bleed on hit.
Yes, it has.
All right.
If I were to test it out against her thumb, would that do the bleed effect?
I mean, it'll make you bleed if you cut yourself.
Yeah, but it won't have like that. It's like if she's intentionally just pricking.
It will not be the same as if Akalupu slashed at you with the weapon.
Okay, she's gonna do a testing little slice.
All right, so you slice your thumb somewhat gingerly, and you can see, similar to what you saw before with the bloodstone, where it would actually draw the blood hungrily from wounds rather than it just like bleeding naturally. It does the same thing across the entire weapon, where you feel blood being drawn from your thumb even as you're pulling away, and several large droplets start to move preternaturally down the channels and to the stone, which glows very dimly as the blood droplets disappear into its surface.
And she's gonna pat Junior on the back, say, "Hi, Junior. This will serve you very well."
Hey, it's a pretty rock.
Yes, Junior, the walk is not a pity. No, to completely ignore the fact that it, yes, very pretty. She's going to pat him up. I don't know if she went into a.
You've been hanging around Junior for too long. That Irish accent's starting to like slightly rub off on you.
It is, especially certain words. It just just bleeds over.
Exactly.
Bleeds. Anywho.
All right, so it's not dark yet, but it's getting toward evenings. Any final preparations?
All right, so she is going to. How long would it take to etch a rune into something?
To do what? Oh, etch a rune?
Yeah.
Much longer than you have.
Okay.
Like, that's generally going to be similar to like what you did here, where you spent pretty much the whole day on it. It's going to be measured in days, not in minutes.
Okay.
Or at least in hours.
As far as preparation goes, I'm going to pull out a black cloak that she has. Hey!
Very non-suspicious.
Very non-suspicious hat.
Yeah, with a very deep cowl so that no one can see your face.
Yeah. To try and blend in with With the night.
Yeah, definitely no rumors of like a banshee stalking the hills at night, preying on anyone foolish enough to go into the woods back at the village.
No, we all know that comes from that, that dangerous robot that, frightened are kicking.
Exactly.
People are disappearing. Don't worry about everyone knows banshees are myths.
Exactly. Much like your neighbor, the what's her face, Snake Lady.
Oh yeah, another complete myth.
Yeah.
Just because people have hallucinations, from time to time. More, wild statue carvers out there.
Oh yeah, they did just call it a Medusa. So yeah, your Medusa. I imagine she's still out there, and is probably on like somewhat friendly neighbor terms at this point.
I mean, considering we live like pretty close, I would say so.
You probably had her over for tea at this point.
Don't worry about it.
All right, so you go up to your room in the tower, and grab your cloak and prepare to head out as the sun is beginning to set, and heading down the stairs back into the second floor where you left Akalupu, because your tower's 3 stories. Okay. So bottom floor is probably like fairly defensible. The walls are going to be pretty thick because like you don't have very advanced architecture yet, so they're going to need to be to hold up that much weight. So there's not a ton of room down there. Second floor is mostly storage, and of course Akalupu under the stairs in a closet. And then third floor is mostly just your room. And then I assume there is like access to the roof where there are kind of like crenellations up there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just say that makes sense to me.
Cool. So yeah, so you're heading back down to the second floor. Kind of, you're moving by habit, the way you do in a very familiar space. When you suddenly stop and almost fall over as you find yourself coming up one step short on the staircase. So there's one less step than you were expecting, and you kind of like slam a foot into the ground when you are expecting to take another step down. And looking, go ahead.
I'm sorry. There's no like extra gap, right? It's not like Akalupu may have stomped too hard and destroyed a stair.
Nope. No, it's just suddenly where you are expecting another stair down is just floor. So you gonna look up and see what's around you?
I am.
All right, so you look up and you find yourself no longer in your tower, but instead in a familiar library. Yeah, various strangely shaped automatons moving around, sorting and organizing these books, dusting shelves, that sort of thing. And of course, in front of you, you see the familiar hooded figure of Topple sitting behind his large, ostentatious desk, fingers steepled, and you assume, looking at you, though it's impossible to tell as his hood just ends in a shadowy void.
That's bloody discombobulating.
Yes, well, I have to keep things interesting somehow, don't I? It's been quite a while, hasn't it?
Indeed. And unfortunately, I can't stay long. I have a very specific window and a very, let's say, trigger-happy boy waiting to throw some rather explosive potions.
Sounds like a good time, but don't worry, you know that time operates differently here. You'll be back before you know it. Come, sit. And he gestures to the chair across from him.
Monterey, she's gonna roll her eyes and walk up and take a seat and look around. I mean, it's the same as always, I assume.
Oh yes, I mean it's continuing to grow. That's something you noted almost every time that you've returned. Is that the each time when you first arrived, it was a small area, basically like a long hallway, but you could see the edges of it easily, and you could even see the tops of the shelves. Each time you've returned, it seems to have grown, and at this point, you haven't had a chance to explore it, but you see various hallways exiting off onto the sides. The roof is now so high that you can see the top, but the books are kind of blurred together in just a mass of color. And the hallway extending behind you is now stretching on to where you aren't sure if you can see the end of it or not.
Been doing some renovation.
Oh, yes. Always room to grow and improve. Don't you agree? And another thing you notice as you're looking around is there's an automaton, which is this kind of misshapen, very pitiful looking creature. And it appears that it's stopped its work. It's holding a mop and bucket. And its single unblinking eye is kind of staring directly at you in what you can only feel is an accusatory manner.
Single eye? Like, does it have a spot for two eyes?
No, it only has the spot for the one eye.
Okay.
And like I said, this is it's vaguely anthropomorphic. Like it's got arms and legs, but it is like definitely not human shaped either.
Mm-hmm. And this is like, it's not a new addition. Like I have seen.
This is probably the first time you've noticed it, and it's definitely most of the automatons here. Kind of just go on about their own business, or I guess they're technically golems, not automatons.
Yeah.
Same difference. But most of the golems have never really reacted to your presence. They kind of just go about their business as if you weren't there. Like they'll go around you if you're in the way, but that's about it. This is the first time that one has ever actually clearly acknowledged your presence.
Getting new healthy days.
Oh, always, though. I've had this one for quite some time. Years now, I suppose, in your terrestrial reckoning.
Don't recall it noticing it before.
Well, there are quite a few of them around. I don't know why this one seems to have taken such particular interest in you. I could look up his file if you were curious, though.
I'm much more curious to see why you've called me here.
No, nothing so great or interesting. Really, I just wanted to chat.
Uh-huh. That's the chat.
Yes. Like I said, it's been quite some time, and I was curious to hear, well, we'll call it a status report from your end.
Well, it seems has the last time that they talked been like the last time in game.
You broke up a ton there. I have no idea what you said.
Oh, has the last time they talked been the last time in game that they talked?
No. There would have been some, like at least one, maybe two times in the interim where you would have talked with him. Do you want to establish anything particular about those times or leave them fairly vague?
I think I particularly want to establish at this point, so we can just leave them vague.
All right. But it's been probably at least 5 or 6 years, probably longer, since the last time you talked.
Well, nothing too new. Still living out in the tower. Conducting research.
Yes, you have been doing quite a bit of, well, as you call it, research. I'm afraid it seems you've stagnated quite a bit in these last years.
Unfortunately, can't seem to get the materials I need, or everything here is, well, I've been here for long enough. I've explored almost all the areas that, at least to me, have interest.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I have a certain responsibility that I can't quite abandon.
Yes. The boy, he truly does take after his father. He's quite strong, even at such a young age. I believe if he hasn't already, he will certainly surpass his father.
I think so, especially with a little help from his friends.
Yes. It is quite difficult to achieve anything alone. I think we can both agree on that.
So you've done quite well for yourself in the past few years.
Yeah, the automaton is still staring at you, by the way. Or the golem. Well, not quite as much as I would have hoped, but I'm making progress. Perhaps before too much longer it will be time to make a move, but must be careful about such things. The politics here are quite what's the one guy who everyone quotes where like the right to rule is through, like, it's better to be feared than loved and all that?
I know what you're talking about. Wait, you're just talking about the quote?
No, there's a guy who it's kind of the Machiavelli. The politics here can be rather Machiavellian.
Well, that is something I do not envy you for.
Yes, well, wish me luck. Both of us are depending on it. But don't worry, I'll be careful.
As if some interests of mine are tied up in yours that I don't quite know about.
Well, I
hate to be walking through the woods one day and suddenly get struck by a bolt of lightning based off of whatever shenanigans you get up into.
Oh, no fears of that, quite. No one's going to come for you directly because of your involvement with me, or at least it's unlikely. No, it's more likely that if I were to fail horribly, well, unless you found a new patron at that point, you would also find yourself suffering. But trust me, you don't want to get too wrapped up in this, otherwise the odds of a lightning bolt, or more likely a poisoned dagger in the dark, would increase significantly.
I think I would notice any other well, what's the antecedent of a patron? If you're my patron, what does that make me? Patronized?
Well, he considers it basically like an employee.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure what the proper term for that would be.
Well, I'm sure I would have noticed another patronee, if you will, if they lurked around this island.
Yes, don't worry. I keep an eye on you for those sorts of things. I don't think anyone will come after you from my enemies without me knowing about it, or at least I should hope so. That is my job, after all. Client is technically...
Client. There we go.
I'm also finding protege or charge as viable options.
No.
Those all work. Well, it seems that we both hit a bit of a stagnation.
Yes, well, as you said, you've more or less picked this current area clean. Perhaps it's time for you to move on soon. Start up your adventuring days again. See what you can find out there. Just a suggestion.
Hmm. Well, I'll be sure to file that away in useful information. Useful, but extremely vague.
Yeah.
There we go.
That was really all I had for you. Yeah, free to go if you have no other questions.
Well, now that you ask, and kind of brought it up, well, I've got two questions actually. First, are there any other clients on this island?
Clients of mine or clients in general?
In general.
Hmm. Well, I believe there is one. He's rather old now, though, and he seemed quite friendly to you before, so I doubt he'll come after you.
Hmm. And curiosity is killing me. Why is that golem staring at me? Because I assume the golem hasn't stopped through all of this.
No, it is still staring at you. Yeah, as I said, I can retrieve his file if you wish.
If it wouldn't be too much of a bother.
Very well. And he snaps his fingers, and another golem kind of floats up and disappears after a couple seconds and returns with a box full of various sheets of paper, and Topple kind of flips through it for a second before retrieving a chart and pulls it out and scans it over. Yes. Yeah, this certainly clears things up. And he turns it around to you, and it is in that same language as the book you've been translating, so you can't read all of it, but you're able to read a number of things, including a date and a name. And the name in large print across the top is Timmy.
Oh, Timmy.
Yes, this appears to be one of the souls you brought me, quite early on in our relationship, even.
Well, good that he's getting some work here rather than at the bottom of a ravine, I suppose.
Oh yes, he is much more useful here than he would have been.
I suppose that is what he always wanted in the end.
Yes, we'll keep telling ourselves that.
No hard feelings, eh, Timmy?
It just silently stares at you.
Well, I'd hate to keep you to your work. And I have some business of my own to attend to.
Very good. Well, best of luck with it. And don't be a stranger. Do drop in again. And you can see just a wide grin in the black void of his hood spreads across with sharp teeth.
Well, I'm sure if I could, I definitely would. 100%. Gonna get a little uneased at that. A little freaky.
Yeah. All right, so at this point, you head back out the way you came?
Yeah, I assume so.
All right, so you turn
I do a
around.
perception check real quick.
Okay.
Do I see anything of note? Got a 21. I'm sorry, a 23.
Anything in particular you're looking for?
Well, given my further progression of being able to read, and the general, yeah, given my progression in that kind of language, do I see any titles of any books or any sort of I don't know, anything in particular that would seem useful?
So interestingly, as you're looking at the books around you, most of them are unlabeled. You're not sure how they're being categorized. Clearly, they are, and retrieval is pretty straightforward for Topple, as you saw with him retrieving Timmy's file pretty quickly. But you're really not sure how any of this is categorized. Perhaps some sort of secret glyphs that are invisible to you or something along those lines. But at least the books near you are almost all just bare spines with no like markings in terms of words. Many of them do have intricate patterns on them, though. But they seem more decorative than anything else. And you are able to read in a large, those little like triangle things that have like a person's name on it that you'd put on a desk.
Yeah.
There's a large wooden one of those. It appears to be, it's some strange dark colored wood you've never seen before. You assume it's very expensive. Everything in here seems to be. And there is a gold plate on the front of it with Topple's name across it and a title, which is Warlord and Entrepreneur Extraordinaire.
Seems very Topple-like.
Indeed.
Oh, one last thing before I go.
Yes.
Would it happen to have anything on necromancy that could...
Interested in prodding the boundaries between life and death, are we?
Maybe a little.
Well, in fact, I believe I could find something that would be interesting to you. Are you more interested in the theory or the practical applications?
Let's say practical.
All right, so he snaps his fingers, and this time no automaton approaches, but you actually see, you can't tell if he's just like doing some sort of magic trick, because he does a flourish with his hand afterward. Perhaps this book was up his sleeve the entire time, or perhaps it's true magic and he's summoned it. But you see appear in his hand a large tome. This one is like big enough that it would be awkward to hold even in both hands for you. It's probably about 3 feet tall and 2 feet wide, and appears to be quite heavy, even though he is hefting it as if it were nothing. But you can only imagine, looking at it, that it must be heavy. The book itself is bound in this kind of rough-looking dark leather with various jagged edges, and it appears to be multiple pieces of leather across the thing. It's not single sheets. And the spine of the book is done up with an actual human spine and a skull on the top. And so he leans over and hands it to you and says, I believe you're already somewhat familiar with our language, so I imagine you won't need any help with this.
Well, maybe not as fluent as I'd like to be, but I'm sure I could work something out.
Well,
He says as she tries to heft this massive book.
yeah, and as you take it from him, it is in fact very heavy. This thing probably weighs 30 pounds.
Oh my gosh, it is a big book.
Yeah, it's chonky. And even despite it's like, it's not like you like look at the pages and they seem to like, they're not even paper heavy, not even parchment heavy. Like, you're not sure what these pages are made of, but it feels like they're made of some sort of stone or metal even, in terms of how much they weigh.
Oh wow. Are they like paper-like, or are they like...
Are you taking your time to like open the book and bend the pages and mess around with it?
Probably not here.
All right, so
Well,
so
you
it
know
is.
what?
It is.
I'll peek inside. I'll open up the cover.
All right, you peek inside. I'm gonna need a will save.
Oh Lord! Don't fail me now, and you'd lose your soul, and that's the last anybody heard of. No,
Exactly.
let's see. 24.
All right, you like as you're opening it, you feel this deep sense of revulsion washing over you, and you feel like this nausea building up in the pit of your stomach, and you're just barely able to overcome it enough to look at the first page. And on seeing this first page, you see various well, so there is some text. It appears to be about the like bottom quarter of the page. The entire top 3/4 of the page are all like not drawings exactly, but
Illustrations.
I don't know. Yeah, illustrations and artwork. And they seem to be like shifting and moving. And you can't quite get your eyes to focus. You kind of like feel them tearing up a little bit. And as you try to bring it into focus, and eventually you find yourself just like unable to keep the book open any longer, and you slam it shut.
Is the one on Fury as this pleasant?
Yeah, clearly this book's going to be some work to get information out of. But what you did glimpse, what you can like comprehend past just this overwhelming sense of revulsion, did tickle those like deep desires for knowledge, especially forbidden knowledge. And it seems like this book is holding abhorrent but amazing secrets.
Well, I think I've taken up enough of your time. I gotta go store this in some place that little frying hands won't find. Although I think the effect of the book might be enough to ward off unwanted what's the word I'm looking for?
Attention.
Attention. There we go.
Yes, indeed. Only not any normal person would be able to view this book. Though if you'd like to keep it more secure, I could lock it for you as well.
I think I'll take you. I'd be able to unlock it myself.
Yes, of course.
Well, you wouldn't mind then. I'm sure you're aware I live with quite an infuriating house guest.
Yes, and this kind of knowledge, we wouldn't want that getting out to just anyone now, would we? So,
No.
For the first time since you've ever met him, Topple stands. And you see, it's always been hard to really judge just how big he is. He stands up, and his huge billowing robes spread out around him. The shadows that are always pouring out from him seem to build in intensity until you can feel you can't even see the floor around you as these like clouds of darkness go pouring across the ground like a thick fog. And he doesn't walk so much as he slides over to where you are, and he's towering above you, almost twice your height. Far more physically imposing even than Junior. And he reaches down and places, and you see on the back of the book there is a human hand, which he then rolls over the top of the book so that it's like covering the side of it where it would open, so opposite from the spine. And the hand clenches down, holding the book closed. And he then takes a clawed fingertip, which is extending from the sleeve of his robe, and he first touches the hand, and then he touches your chest directly over your heart, and you feel this like cold shadow falling over it, almost as if your heart had stopped for a moment. And then he withdraws his hand. There. Now only you, well, and me, of course, should be able to open this book. And shortly after, he returns to normal. It was only like a moment that this cold, heart-stopping feeling was kind of enveloping your chest. You maybe gasp a little, but you seem fine after.
Well, I'm glad all of our times always end so pleasantly.
Well, perhaps you should be more concerned with things ending productively, which I feel we have always accomplished.
Of course. Of course.
Very well. Yeah. The way out is behind you as always, and he gestures toward the pentagram where you appeared in the first place. And
Is there a way I can try and memorize what this pentagram looks like?
You can. It's pretty pentagrammy with like symbols around the edges.
Is there a way I can memorize what those all kind of look like?
You can try. Give me a straight intelligence check.
Intelligence. No, I just want to roll it. Like, do you want to know what intelligence is? I'm like, I do know. 17.
All right, you get the rough gist of it, but even if you were like, as soon as you got back, you tried to sketch it out, you're pretty sure you would not be able to get it accurate.
Mm-hmm. We'll go with an inaccurate depiction for now.
All right, so you return through the pentagram.
I do, hefting my large book, which as I return, I realize I'm going to have to heft it all the way back up the 3 flights.
Yeah, so you as you return from the pentagram, you find yourself now expecting Floor, finding that last step, and let's get a reflex save to see if you fall on your face right in front of Junior.
Oh, lame. 11.
Yeah, you fall on your face right in front of Junior. Do you fall on the book, or do you like protect the book at the cost of your face?
I'm gonna protect the book at the cost of my face.
All right, so let's roll. All right, you take 6 points of damage.
Oof. How is my health and stamina not gone up? That seems bogus.
I'm sure it's gone up a little bit.
8.
Like, you don't have a very big hit die, so you're not going to go up a lot, but it should have gone up some.
I mean, you're not wrong.
All right, Agalubu. Manawanui just appeared out of nowhere, fell down the stairs, face first into the ground, while holding a giant, really creepy looking book above his head. Her head, I mean.
I thought he was gonna Junior's gonna open his mouth to say something, but then just closes his mouth. You know what? I don't even want to know.
Right? Not the weirdest thing you've seen by far.
No.
Junior.
Hey.
Help me up, for goodness sake.
Hey, but I'm not touching that thing.
Oh, I suppose I'm gonna have to carry it up all 3 flights?
Hey.
Well, you're on the 2nd floor, so it's just 1 flight.
Oh, okay. Let you live in my house. That's good. She might mumble all this as she's going upstairs with the. Ash slowly goes up the stairs with the giant book, making very loud.
Aqua was just gonna watch, kind of smirking a little bit.
All right, so you ferret the book away somewhere safe.
I do. As much as you can for a book like that away.
All right. So yes, you put it away somewhere safe, and finally you are prepared to head out. Meanwhile, back with Ip and Burnbright, the two of you are back in your unicorn forms at this point, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
And Burnbright is very strong. Unlike you, he will not be encumbered. So he's carrying most of the equipment and loot that you've gathered on this journey. You know, you've done a little bit of hunting, you've scavenged a few different places, in addition to that cave, even though, of course, that was definitely your biggest haul of old weird gizmos and stuff. And you are trotting along quite at a fairly comfortable jogging pace, I guess, for horses. And are, you know, just as the sun is beginning to set and it's getting a bit darker, the shadow of the mountain has probably already crossed this area. And you can see ahead of you the tower, not Manawanui's tower at this point, but you can see the ancient tower, which is significantly taller. Manawanui's tower is probably the tallest of like any of the island's current inhabitants' buildings, but it is easily dwarfed by the size of this ancient structure. And as you are cresting a hill and coming closer, you see Akalupu's tower, or Manawanui's tower, come into view. And strangely, around it, you see a variety of fires set up in irregular intervals.
What the heck?
Yeah, bruh, is he like throwing like an epic smasher without us or something?
Or like maybe trying to signal for some aircraft to attention? For attention?
What's like an aircraft, bruh?
You know, like when you have a kite.
Oh,
It's
you
like
mean
an
like
aircraft.
you mean like Manawanui's like glider thing that he uses to visit? Or not Manawanui,
Exactly.
Akalupu's. Akalupu's glider thing he uses to visit.
I don't know, why else would he put lights all around his house?
Yeah. Hey, I wonder if we could use like the scopes on our crossbows to like see down there.
You're always thinking, little brother. Take a look, what do you see?
Alright, are you also gonna heft your crossbow and take a look?
No, I'm too lazy.
Alright, so Burnbright's gonna heft his crossbow using, you know, invisible magic hands. You're quite used to it. Like, it's not weird to you. You're just like, yeah, of course we have magic hands. We can just do stuff around us. Doesn't everyone? Yeah, so he holds it up to his face. He's like, bro, there are like little like figures, like coconut dudes. It must be cocoa biters like sieging him. And they've got like
Cocoa
a war
biters.
dino.
Oh, we better go help out.
Oh, no wonder they haven't visited if they're like, you know, being like attacked or whatever.
It almost appears like a siege.
Yeah. All right, so you guys prepare to head down and help. Right as Akalupu is standing on top of the tower, hefting how many fire bombs did Junior take out of that cabinet? You're muted if you're talking, Anna.
I'm trying to unmute myself. There.
You muted yourself again. There you go.
Akalupu definitely grabbed 4. He grabbed like 2 in each hand.
And that's some restraint. All right, so
The
yeah,
cabinet's still open.
it's true. More can be acquired. But yeah, so Junior is up on the roof hefting a few of these fire bombs experimentally, and Manawanui is down on the bottom floor of the tower, preparing to slip out the door as quietly as possible. And we will wrap up there. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and end things as usual. What has Ip learned?
Ip learned that there is a firecracker and is very hard to control.
Yeah, you got to be very specific, and even
Always
then,
getting into trouble.
oh yeah. No, you didn't have to worry about being like, the little bratty kid, because you had a robot who was enough to take care of that, like anything by comparison was better. Or I guess you didn't have to worry about that anyway. You were a little goody two-shoes. Burnbright didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Even though you're pretty certain Burnbright has blamed more than a few things on Gur that were not actually his fault.
Probably true, but as is Ip's tendency, he just trusts the good in people.
Exactly. All right, what has Junior learned?
Junior learned that Mama Wanui trusts him far more than she probably should.
Yeah, even though Junior, like, it's not going to be long before Junior is off that roof, causing some mayhem along with his friends once they show up, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. There's no way he's going to, not be in the middle of it.
Yeah, but he doesn't know about that yet.
Oh yeah.
And what about Mono Anui? What has she learned?
I know you learned that maybe when she meets with Topple, she should ask for things. Because Mono Nui was pleasantly surprised with her boon.
Yeah. No, Topple takes his job as your patron quite seriously. Like, there's a contract and everything, and his interests align with yours in that the stronger you are, the more you do, the stronger he is. So, like, he might ask you to do things you might not necessarily want to, but you can always assume that, at least if for no other reason than his own self-interest, he will always be on the side of you, first of all, surviving, and second of all, becoming strong. You can call that thriving if you want to.
That is good to know. Because yeah, that is good to know.
All right, well,
I also learned that books are heavy.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, it is a chonker of a book for sure. Your skinny little arms are, you're gonna need something to prop it up on to read it, because there's no way you're holding that book.
And unfortunately, there's no way she can get off the Lupu to hold it for her.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining me. I hope you all had a great time. I know I did, and I will see you all at the next game. Bye.
Bye.